an introduction.
Who's this guy?
Who's this guy?
Hi, nice to meet you. Pleasure. Ioan, pleasure.
Karina,
Pleasure. Nice to meet you too.
hi, if you don't mind. I will say hi before I get sit back down there.
This is
Normal Riders, new agency.
Oh, fantastic.
We'll be doing a write-up.
All riders, fantastic. The journey continues. Love it.
If you don't mind recording.
No, of course, my
Wait, am
pleasure.
I in your line of sight? I can move.
No, you're quite all right, thanks.
Okay. And I'm Jen.
You're beautifying the shots, yeah. Doing.
Very kind, very kind. I'm with Nerdspan, we're a new online
Fantastic.
website about the nerd news, basically. But I'll be coming over in the middle of this.
Yeah,
That's
come
okay.
and join us when you're ready, yeah.
Thank you. I won't shut up questions this
So, how did you get your start? I had read that you did a bit of a soap opera. when
I
you were
did,
younger.
I
Yes.
did, yeah. I think I was about 12 or 13. They had come to school to look for a guy to play the son of the bar owner, you know, the pub owner in this local village in this soap opera. And they were looking for somebody specifically with a specific Welsh accent, a West Walian accent, because the show was set in West Wales, and we were in Cardiff, and my parents have a West Walian accent, so I had a little bit of a West Walian accent. And I got down to the last 2 or 3, and then continued to audition, and then got the job, and was on and off that series for about 8 years, on and off. So it was an amazing experience at such a young age to discover acting professionally, to be in front of the camera and all that sort of technique, and then to be around working actors who were older than me.
Right.
So to have the responsibility and discipline to turn up on time and to treat it as a professional job. So I fell in love with acting as an art form, and I fell in love with acting as a profession.
So you kind of pursued it at that young age. And
Well, it
kept
was
going.
it kind of found me in a sense. I didn't have an instinct really towards it. I just thought I could do it, and then I went for it, and I loved it. I wasn't very good, but I knew that I loved it enough that I wanted to pursue it as an art form and study it, and went then to drama college for 3 years to study it, and the rest is history.
Mhm. So, and then with this origins theme of superheroes, obviously Mr. Fantastic rolls right into it. Horatio Hornblower after sort of
Yeah,
the hero
yeah,
of the
yeah.
season, so on.
Absolutely, yeah. I was just looking, I was setting up my pictures, and I see all these different characters from different eras and different genres, and it's a great feeling to know that as an actor you can lend yourself to all these different parts from different,
So did you find that the parts sought you against it, or did you seek certain roles?
I mean, I'd like to say that I was seeking these roles, but the reality of it is that you vie for these parts, in auditions and whatever, and then they choose you, really. So these characters that I've played are such a great reflection on me, because I've brought these characters to life, but they're such brilliant characters to begin with. They're characters from novels or someone's imagination, a great imagination like Stanley's imagination from Mr. Fantastic, and Lancelot, obviously a figure that we all have an idea of what he looks like from all the fables of King Arthur that we've learnt over the years. So it's just great to be the person that sort of brought that to life and represented that person.
That's cool. And then I also read that you had done some work for Justice League too. So how did the doing animated acting per se versus the live action,
It's a whole other kettle of fish, and I mean that in the sense that the acting that I came across in these rooms, because you are all in a room together, so it's kind of like doing a radio play in the sense everybody's standing in front of their microphones, and then if you close your eyes you can't quite believe the voices you're hearing, and then you turn around and you see the actor that's creating these voices, and you can't believe that voice is coming out of that person. They are so good. I was kind of blown away by them. I realized what the true nature of an actor who can create a character with just the voice. I mean, it was so impressive. And of course, they're amazing actors in themselves, but to be able to create that just with the voice itself, it was something that I was blown away by, and just quite honoured to be in the room with these people, because they're just, you know, we watch things all the time, don't we, and we just take it for granted, but you know, the voice of a little girl is usually played by a 30-year-old woman or something. You know, it's just really impressive to see.
Do you find that harder then, to have to create that character?
I think for me personally, I struggled with some of the parts that I played. I haven't played, you know, many leading parts in animation. The accent is so specific, obviously, with the American accent that I have to put on. So the next step then to do an accent and to do a different character who's older or younger or whatever, it's quite a stretch for me. So it's something I love doing. I love challenging myself, but there's so many great people out there in that world that can do it so much better than I can.
So would you say that feeds into theatre acting, or you were able to use theatre acting with that? Or?
Well, I think the skills that I learnt at drama college, and I've done a little bit of theatre over the years, I think that's the true sort of, not the true testament, but I think I'm glad that I've had that training. I'm glad I was trained for the theatre, and I'm glad I could step onto the stage tomorrow. Granted, lacking in some experience because I haven't done it in a while, but knowing that I have the skills there to do it, you know. And I don't think I've ever come across anything as an actor in front of the camera that I didn't have a go at doing while I was at drama college.
Mm-hmm. That must be a benefit then. If
Yes,
you can at least practice it at school and take that forward.
Yeah, it was quite intense, the training. It was like a 3-year training course, every day, all day. All my buddies had gone to London, to university, and they had 2 or 3 lectures a week. And were having a whale of a time, and I was there, 9 till 7 every day, and then Saturday mornings for the entire 3 years. So it just taught you a discipline and a commitment to the course, because especially in theatre, the rehearsal process is a long rehearsal process before you even get to perform it, and then you perform it for months at a time, often. So all that skill and that training and that dedication, I mean, helps to keep you focused, I guess, when you're doing a movie like Fantastic Four, when it's quite sporadic, the amount of times you actually act, because it's a lot of setting up of the shots and setting up of the background, and it's all imagined anyway. You're working against green screens or what have you. All that comes into play when you just have to concentrate between action and cut when all this madness is going on around you.
Do you have a specific medium that you prefer between, say, theatre, film, TV?
You know what, the acting is the same. The pace of acting on television is pretty fast, and I do enjoy it because you have to go with your instinct, and you have to trust your instinct. There's no real time to play, because we're shooting a movie, a mini movie, an hour movie, a long movie in 8 days usually, or 7 days sometimes on a television show. So there's no time to wallow in it or to discover it. You just have to go with your instinct and do it. With movie, there is time sometimes to have a rehearsal period. There is time to rehearse during the day. There's time to get it right. You're painting with a bigger canvas, so it's a much more of an artistic process, it seems, with the lighting and getting the tableau and your part within that tableau right. Whereas in television, it's pretty much all set up and you just have to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And how has your origins experience been?
Well, I came off a plane this morning from LA. I took the red eye. I went to the hotel, had a quick power nap, and came here. And so it's funny, I've travelled the country, but I've only really seen inside of convention centres. But it's the people that makes the place, I guess. And the people are just the salt of the earth here. It's just so lovely. I mean, it's I forget when you enter into this realm that everybody's just so passionate and so in love with the worlds that they've fallen in love with, either through a novel that's been turned into a program or a show on TV or a game or a comic book. We've all done that, haven't we? We've all read a novel and we've created the whole image of the novel in our mind's eye. So it's pretty cool to represent some of these characters that have already been created by somebody on the page, in an animation like Mr. Fantastic, or with a hornblower, somebody's imagination, as a novelist. To bring those to life, it's quite don't know, I'm quite proud of that, and quite proud of the effect that it has on people when you meet people face to face who love that character so much.
What are you currently working on?
Currently, I'll be seen next. I did a little guest spot on Castle, which I think has aired already, and I'm doing another guest spot on a show called Necessary Roughness, which is on the USA Network. I think that starts, next week, or I think maybe it's already started the new season. But and then in terms of movies, I've got a movie coming out probably towards the end of the year called Mariah Mundy, which is a kids or teenage novel, period costume, sort of in the same vein as Harry Potter in its sort of adventure, but different in its style. About a kid looking for this special Midas box, which has all these powers that a human being could ever want. And Michael Sheen is playing the heroic sort of figure of the piece, and a young actor called Aneirin Bernard is the young kid in it, and I'm playing his father. So it's a little cameo in the film, but if the film is a success, then I'll be more in the next movie.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
And hearing that you hail from Wales, my husband Tom actually has a couple of questions in regard to Wales,
Cool.
which you might find entertaining.
Yes.
Well, that's being thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
What part of Cardiff?
Yes,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
What about growing up in Cardiff and, with basically everything that is Wales represented in that town? Do you carry part of like Welsh culture or the people with you when you travel, and when you were living in LA or when you're working on these projects? Is there something that helps, I guess, make you who you are?
It's interesting. I mean, I can't. I think the benefit of it, in a sense, I guess we all. So this is something I've been questioning a lot, as an adult, because when I guess we all know and love where we grew up, and we all feel very strongly affiliated with that place, but we all can't help where we were born. So I had a great sense of patriotism when I was younger, and great sense of fervour towards that, but I didn't quite know why I was doing that. And I realised as an adult it's just where I grew up, and I've been influenced by all that, and it's the makeup of my character. You have a sense of identity wherever you go in the world, but I think the making of you as a person is your adventures out there in the world and seeing the world. So I think acting has allowed me to leave where I grew up and become who I am really as a person. Even though, of course, you love where you grew up and you love where you're from and your family and your friends and everything, and they've had great influence on you. But I think my eyes really truly opened when I left home, and I think having sort of a feeling of a strong sense of identity helped me springboard myself, I guess, into the world.
That's great. I love what you were saying earlier about how you've gotten the chance to play these loved characters, because I'm a huge fan of Horatio Hornblower, and I had this sort of incorporeal image of the character, and as soon as I saw you playing that role, you became Horatio Hornblower to me, and that